Team Taco, fake-ass patriots, have you noticed that Krasnov, you know who that is? That's Chief Taco himself there. That big orange bloated syphilis up Adderall riddled idiot. Donald F. and Trump. Krasnov. That's his Russian name. Y'all know that. He's had that since the 1980s, for God's sake. I mean, he was married to a woman whose dad was KGB. I mean, my Lord. Yeah, that was their name. That was their pet name for Donald F. and Trump. Russia's had a pet name for him for a long time. It's been Krasnov. That's what it is. So anyway, have you noticed that old Krasnov has admitted that he's guilty multiple times? I hadn't seen anybody talking about it, but he has. You know, not only did he get up there on the TVs in front of them cameras and say that Jeffrey Epstein was stealing his little girls out of his Mar-a-Lardos there that he had working there in the spas. Well, now, one question you should ask yourself is, why did he have such young girls working in his spas? You know, why did he do that? Well, see, that Virginia Roberts there that was poached out of his spa there, that was in 2000 there. So that's how far back that Donald F. and Trump knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And he absolutely knew what was going on there. You know, so he tells on himself all the time. Well, then he gets out there and he says this. He says, if they have something on me, they'd have done something about it. If they had something on me, they don't got nothing on me. You know what that is right there? That's mob talk is what that is. He's saying to you when he says that, I know I did some wrong stuff. I know I did, but I covered my tracks good. You know, I covered my tracks really good so they don't got nothing on me. That's what he's saying to you, is if they had something on me, they'd have come got me already. And, you know, and I can show you. It's just like this right here.
I think you're all over them files, boss.
They got nothing. If they had something on me, they would have used it already.
See, that's the way that works right there, Team Taco, you fake-ass patriots. So we don't know what's in those files. You know why we don't? Krasnov, because Krasnov, the Russian asset, he won't let us see what's in those files for some reason, even though he told y'all for months and months and months, years, he was going to release that complete transparency on that right there, because it was going to be a bunch of damn Democrats all up in there, you know. So he's the reason why we can't see him right now, because you've got literally every Democrat out there, including Bill Clinton, saying, release the files so we can all look at it. Let's take a peek-see, is what they're saying. Let's just take a little peek-see at what's in there. But Donald Trump won't let you do that, you know. And see, the thing is I know whenever he says, if they've got something on me, they would have already done something about it, you know. I know he says that, but in the back of his mind, he's really unsure, you know, because of all the criming that he does all the time. It's hard to keep it straight in his empty brain bucket, you know. He does a whole lot of it, and so he's not 100% sure there ain't nothing in there, because he's done a lot that should probably be in there if they did catch him, you know. So he's not 100% sure that he's been caught, you know. And the reason why is because, well, him and that Epstein fella, they had him a deal together is what it was, is what they said is, look, now I know we're doing a bunch of financial crimes together and stuff like that, and we like to get up with some Russians and do some money laundering and stuff like that together and all. Then I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. But hey, when it comes to these little girls and stuff, look, I don't video you and you don't video me. You know, we blackmail other people. We don't blackmail each other. You know, right there, a pinky promise is what that was. They gave each other a pinky promise on that one. And that's looked like what's going on here. So he don't know what's in those. Could it be financial stuff? Maybe. Is it little girl stuff? I don't think so, because we had a pinky promise, me and Epstein did, you know, and it, you know, probably something like this, you know.
How can you be so sure about that, boss?
We had an agreement. I didn't record him and he didn't record me.
But though, hey, lucky for Team Taco there, you fake-ass patriots, y'all are gullible idiots, you know, so, and he knows that, you know, so he's looking at it this way. As long as I tell these people it's just a big old Democrat hoax and that it was all fabricated by the Democrats. So as long as I tell them that poor Jeffrey Epstein, he was scapegoated, and so was that Ghislaine Maxwell. And that poor Jeffrey Epstein, I had him, I mean, he died there in prison for nothing, you know, because it was all a big scapegoated thing. And so as long as I tell them that, they're going to believe it, because they can't get out of my cult there, because, you know, that's a whole lot of crow to eat, since everybody in the world's been telling them, hey, dummy, hey, can't you see this is one of the most corrupt individuals ever on the planet Earth? So it's a lot of crow to be eaten to admit that. So they got to stick by him, So Team Taco, so what he's doing right now then is he's saying, look, I'm just going to lie about it. I'm going to say it's a hoax. I'm going to blame it on other people is what I'm going to do. And say it's all made up because chances are my name's all over that. And it's going to come out eventually. And so, but hey, don't worry about it. I'm going to conduct a cover up right there in front of your faces is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell my Department of Justice, go on over there and talk to Ghislaine Maxwell. And let's work with her, a convicted child trafficker. Let's work with her to get her some lying sworn testimony there to defend Krasnov. That's the deal right there. In exchange for some immunities, some pardons, all that good stuff there. So let's go work on that, which, by the way, let's go ahead and go through these files and scrub my name out of it. Let's lie to the American people about it. Let's stall as long as we can. And then whenever the Senate comes along and says, hey, you've got to turn them documents over, we just ain't going to do it, what we're going to do. And also what we're going to do is pretend like we're going to give you something important, like grand jury testimony, which that ain't important at all. It's not. That's the least amount of evidence of the whole thing. It only takes a little evidence to convince a grand jury to indict somebody. So they dangled that there just to give you something to chew on for a little bit, then that way you think it's a big deal because it's got the word grand in it and jury. And then they can turn around and say, well, that was an Obama appointed judge there that shot it down. So therefore Obama is the one covering this up. Obama's covering it up. Knowing damn well that releasing grand jury testimony is one of the hardest things there is to get a judge to do by law for a reason. So anyway, so what you're doing right now is watching a cover up. And you know why? Because you elected a mob boss, a mob boss that probably has conversations just like this.
We're going to have to get this cleaned up, boss.
I have people on the inside taking care of it right now.
Now, what do I think's in those files? I don't know. I think there's a whole lot of stuff in those files. It ain't just, some kid touching stuff going on in there, because that whole thing stinks of a lot of money laundering and things like that. In fact, tonight, that senator's coming out with a whole bunch of receipts on billions of dollars that they're trying to figure out why and where it was being spent on. That's connected up with Jeffrey Epstein there, and who knows who else is connected up to. But I'm starting to put some pieces of that puzzle together. Remember, I was teaching you Team Tacos how to connect dots here a while back, and I know you didn't have coloring books back there. Back in the day, you didn't have the coloring books. You didn't have the semi-trucks bringing you coloring books, just like the TV signals didn't make it to your house, and you missed all the schoolhouse rocks and all that stuff. Well, anyway, I was connected up on some dots, and I found something real peculiar here, because whenever you listen to Michael Wolff there and what he was saying about his interview there with Jeffrey Epstein and the stuff he said, that falling out they had over that mansion was because, Jeffrey Epstein took Donald Trump over there to his house whenever he was considering buying it for like $35 million. Just to ask Trump, some advice on relocating a swimming pool. Well, what did his best friend do? Donald Trump went behind his back and bid $40 million on it and just bought it out from underneath him, because that's what friends do, So that pissed off Jeffrey Epstein whenever that happened. And so he started threatening Donald F. and Trump that I'm going to come forward to the feds and tell them about all of the shady stuff you're involved in. Well, Donald F. and Trump didn't like that. What happened? And because they got dirt on each other, So Epstein probably shouldn't have did that, see, because then 2005 is whenever he first got arrested, almost like Krasnov turned him in. See, because Krasnov knew what he was doing the whole time, because, they were involved with it, So almost like Krasnov turned him in. Well, he got off on that because of Acosta gave him a sweetheart deal there, which Donald Trump turned around and put in his cabinet the first time he was pretending he was president for some reason. Department of Labor, whenever this guy ain't nothing but an attorney. So anyway, did that. That's a good favor. Scratch my back, I'll scratch your kind of thing. See, because Epstein was still alive, and there was still dirt out there circulating around Donald F. and Trump. Still is right now. Well, then since he got his little sweetheart deal, Well, come 2019, Donald F. and Trump wasn't done dealing with him yet because he didn't like that dark cloud looming over his head about the dirt that Jeffrey Epstein had on him. After his interview there with Michael Wolff, and Michael Wolff contacted him after the book was released. Jeffrey Epstein was in London, and Michael Wolff asked him, "Hey, what did you think about the book?" Jeffrey Epstein says, "I'm afraid I may have said too much." That's what he said. 3 weeks later, he was arrested. 4 weeks later, he was dead under Donald Trump's watch. So what's in those documents? A lot. See, another thing is that Jeffrey Epstein said is whenever Donald Trump bought that mansion out from underneath him, that he knew that Donald Trump's scattered finances could not afford a $40 million house. So he got to wondering where he's getting the money from. He found out a Russian oligarch that he got that money from to buy a $40 million mansion, to turn around and sell it to the same Russian oligarch for $95 million. That's what you call money laundering, is what that's called. So here we are with Russia again. So he was dealing with Russians, which his family admitted that they've been, getting a lot of Russian money all the way since the 1990s. So you couldn't get no American money after you bankrupt 3 casinos. How do you bankrupt 3 casinos? Laundering Russian money. That's how you do it. So it seems to me that just maybe what's in these Epstein files has a lot to do with Russia. Maybe that explains the reason why that he pivoted off of that to try to get a bunch of you Team Taco, you fake ass patriots to start paying attention to something else over this deal, was because he needed to debunk the whole Russia hoax, as you call it. He needed to debunk that. That's the first place his mind went to whenever he realized these Jeffrey Epstein stuff might come out. Why is that, there, Team Taco? Why is that? He could have distracted you with anything. He could have distracted you with the 2020 election. Remember, stop the steal? That's the most recent lie he told you. He could have distracted you with that. For some reason, though, he had to go all the way back to 2016 and dredge up the Russia thing. It's almost like these two things are connected. Like the Jeffrey Epstein thing and the Russia thing are connected. And now then they find burn bags, They find burn bags with Russia material in those burn bags, just hidden away in some dusty room in the FBI headquarters. Almost like ChatGPT wrote up that script. Now, the thing is, if they found a bunch of crap in burn bags, hey, here's a good question. Why didn't they burn it? Okay? That's what their intended purpose is, right? You put them in burn bags and store in some dusty storage room. No, it looks to me like what Team Taco, your problem is, Donald F. and Trump knows how these things are connected, and he's having to convince all of you that it's all a hoax. All of it's a hoax. That's what he's trying to convince you of. And there's a reason for that. See, yesterday, whenever he did his little press conference there, and he was asked about those burn bags, do you know exactly where his mind went immediately? He didn't talk about Russia that was supposed to be in those burn bags. His conversation went straight to Jeffrey Epstein. And it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax. That's where his mind went when those burn bags were mentioned. That means those two things are connected. So think what you want, Team Taco. What you're doing is supporting the cover-up of a pedophile ring that Donald Trump's connected to. And it's not just pedophilia that he's connected to. It's a whole bunch of other stuff, a whole bunch of financial stuff, a whole lot of Russia stuff. Inmate Trump.